Hello, welcome to the final whistle. I'm Kenzie Benali.
And I'm Steve Forbes.
Well, that was a much needed 3 points on the road, and Dean Hammond and Paul Balverston are back with us to discuss that win. Dean, we'll come to you first. That was a very welcome 3 points indeed, wasn't it?
Fantastic 3 points, really was. Dominated the game from start to finish, really. Very impressive, considering the defeats and the form of late, the way they started the game, taking brave decisions on the ball to keep possession, to kind of draw Sheffield United out. But no, a really dominant performance, especially first half and towards the end of the game. Brilliant, the movement from Tella to create the penalty. The pace that he showed was really impressive. James Ward-Prowse scoring a really good goal, showing good composure when Danny Ings probably would have taken the penalty. So that was fantastic, showing that leadership skills as a captain. And then second half, really disciplined, held a really good defensive shape. Fraser Forster didn't have too much to do, but when he was called upon, he had really safe hands, made a good save, very commanding. The defence looked really assured. And the players that came back in, they've not played for a while, but they looked fresh, they looked strong and performed very well and made it a huge difference. And just really pleased personally for Che Adams. To be dropped before the game, there would have been huge disappointment for him. But then to come on and play like he did and lead and score the goal he did was fantastic. It really was. I think that's the first time from Che. I know I played when I was younger and I've watched him this season and last season. That's real maturity as a player to think, okay, I'm going to come on and I'm going to prove a point and I'm going to play for the team. He was brilliant. So a great result. Could have been more. Very comfortable. And that was the Southampton of old. So hopefully that's the turning point again, like Baver said before the game. And it was a fantastic result. Really good away performance.
Yeah, it most certainly was. And a correct score prediction from you as well, Balvers. How pleased are you with that result?
Surprised. It was such a good performance, wasn't it? So positive. They were first to every ball. In fairness, so many of our viewers called 3-0 or 3-1 and it could have been 5, couldn't it? They created so many chances, particularly in the second half. It's a result that won't get nearly as many headlines as the poor run leading up to it has, but such an important win, such a relief as well to go into this next run of games, building up to the cup quarter final as well. Sheffield United are a very dangerous opponent. They beat Villa in the week. They've beaten other teams as well. And I'll tell you, you mentioned how good Che Adams was. I'm delighted he managed to get through that very late tackle as well, because that looked awful. That is a concern that we saw Danny Ings limp off, but the way the team reacted, they did not look like a team whose confidence has been battered. They looked like they were very comfortable. They clearly believe in the manager, the game plan, everything. And yeah, having those players back, no more square pegs in round holes. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, well, we did lose Danny Ings early on through injury, Dean, although it doesn't look too serious. He managed to walk off the pitch. What are your thoughts on that, and how big a blow would it be if we did lose him for a period of time?
Well, I agree with you, Steve. I don't think it looked too bad. I think it was a sensible decision by Danny and the medical staff. It looked like he felt something potentially. I couldn't quite work it out because it wasn't a tackle. It didn't look like he overstretched or anything. I don't know if it was his knee, or potentially looked like it might have been his groin. I think it was just a precaution, and very sensible of Danny. If you feel something with the history he's had with the injuries, it's the right thing to do. And obviously losing Danny will be difficult. But the players that came in today, we've mentioned Che, Tella was fantastic. Nathan Redmond looked dangerous when he came on. So there is some strength there. There is some depth. But missing your talisman, is very important to have Danny fit and firing, because his form's been better of late. And I'm sure if he played today, he would have scored a few goals. But, Che came on and changed the game. He really did. But just being really physical, working exceptionally hard, scoring against his old club. And he was very dangerous. So it may not have been like that if Danny had played, because they're very different players. So, look, hopefully Danny will be okay for him. And we need him in the team. We need him firing. We need him fully fit. and it doesn't look too bad. So I think overall it's a really, really sensible decision, and it's worked out today.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Dean, you mentioned how impressed you were with Nathan Tella there, and the fans are certainly feeling the same as you. Plenty of love flooding in for him on social media. Steve has got in touch and said, really impressed with young Tella. Luke on Facebook says, Tella was class, great speed, and has his end product. Fraser seems to give us more confidence in goal too. Greg, hello to you. He says Tella was excellent. Lynn also agrees. She says, love Tella. Dell says Tella played really, really well and looked really comfortable too. And another one here from Anthony just saying Tella was superb. Paul, Nathan Tella has actually won 3 penalties for Saints in the last month, but of course this was the first one that hasn't been overturned by VAR. There was no argument on that one, was there?
No, and well deserved. That first touch to, I mean, first of all, the ball from Diallo was tremendous. The run between the 2 defenders, and then that first touch to take it away. And Ethan Ampadu, you could see almost the panic in his eyes, and he lunged in, no question at all. There wouldn't have been many hearts in mouths as that VAR call was going through. But he was tremendous. He really has very little fear in his game. He causes a lot of problems right from the very start. He was showing how strong he can be, battling again with Ampadu and Bogle onto the left-hand side, winning free kicks that are always very welcome for Southampton, of course. And there were another couple of chances he had as well. He forced Ramsdale into a save. He had that one where the ball came out to him first half. Very difficult technique and skill to keep it down, and he sort of volleyed it high and wide, didn't he? But for a young man making only his second start, I think that was, again, a terrific display. Wonderful potential there for the future. And I think there's so much more to come from him. He's had a great grounding at Arsenal, where he was from 7 till 17. They let him go. Southampton have snapped him up, and I think it's a great bit of business. I think there's an awful lot to come from him. And he can play out wide, he can play up top, as we were discussing before the game, and very exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure you can agree, Dean. A really lively display from Tella today, full of pace and energy from the start. What did you make of his overall performance?
Really, really good. Really, really effective. He came on into the team, and his movement was very, very impressive. And his timing of his movement, you saw that for the goal, where he stayed on side, trusted in his own pace. But like Paul said there, at the beginning of the game, down the left-hand side, I know he was playing centre forward, but he was causing problems there because of his movement. And he looked really, really sharp today. I think I've recognised that he's quick, but he looked exceptionally sharp today. Really, really causing problems. And the chance he had second half, where he let the ball run across his body, took a touch and had a shot, and the Sheffield United goalkeeper made a really good save. I think that just showed, which Paul mentioned there, he's fearless, he's brave, and his confidence was growing, because he could have passed it wide, but he thought, do you know what, I'm going to have a shot here. But I liked it. He stretched the game, which helps the midfield players. And I think it helps players like Stuart Armstrong, because if he's making that movement in behind, the unselfish runs that he may not get the ball all the time, it gives the midfield players more time on the ball, because the defence will drop off deeper. So, a really, really strong performance, and a player that's grown and kind of come from nowhere, to be honest. And the manager seems to really, really like him. One for the future. And again, a product that's coming through from Southampton. So, really, really bright.
One for the future indeed, and we would genuinely be here all evening if I was to read all of these comments about Nathan Tella to you all. We'll have a couple more of them now. Peter's just said, amazing performance. Tella was my man of the match. Aaron was pleased with the performance, he said, today. He said that was better. Richard Hall just simply says, hurrah, nothing more to be said. Talking Taco on YouTube says Tella needs to start more games. He's rapid on the ball and made it so hard for the defenders to catch up with him. He's my man of the match. And then Ben has left us this comment on Facebook. He said, looked up for it today, but saying that, Sheffield United looked a bit sorry for themselves. Well, on Sheffield United then, Paul, they did have their chances in the first half, to be fair to them. Were we fortunate to go into the break 1-0 up?
No. Controlled the game. What are you talking about? I don't know. I think really perhaps 1-0 was kind to Southampton, but equally I think the best chances fell to Saints, and Dean mentioned it earlier. Fraser Forster wasn't really tested too greatly. He very much impressed me right from the very start. Again, he looked so composed with the ball at his feet, and then claimed a couple of crosses late on. They tried to get at him, didn't they? They tried to sort of play on any sort of uncertainty there might have been after so long out. They were crowding him at corners and things, and there were one or two dangerous crosses. Fleck put one in, didn't he? And then at the far post, Kieran Bryan headed just over, but he was offside. And to be honest, I'm not remembering too many clear-cut chances. There were just the slight hint of a little uncertainty from Forster when a couple of those crosses came in first half, but I think he sorted that out second half as well. He was very assured, and with that first choice back four there as well, Prowsey and Diallo in front of them, they look such a good unit. And you know, it's the biggest possible test next up against Manchester City. But today, I really never thought they were in too much trouble. Forster again made that save, didn't he, from David McGoldrick, who didn't really connect particularly well. But yeah, second half, there have been a few concerns, haven't there, recently? The second half performances from Saints haven't been up to the standard of the first half. It was the other way around today. They kicked on after the break, and that goal from Shay Adams was just terrific. And I think that's the only sort of criticism we could have, that they perhaps should have scored more than just the two.
Yeah, well, on that, Paul, Saints did get another goal at the start of the second half with that thunderous strike from Shea. Dean, I'm sure you can agree with the Saints fans. They would have been relieved to see it come from that man in particular.
Yeah, they really would, and I think Shea would be relieved as well, and he got his just rewards. But I mean, what a strike! It really was, and to hit a ball like that on the half volley with such power and such pace, and the accuracy on it as well was fantastic. And we know Shea can score goals like that. You know, his goal against Man City last season when he did that, and he goes on runs. Shea, he looks like he's a confidence player, but I thought he was absolutely brilliant today. I really did. His work rate. I mean, as soon as he came onto the pitch, I think he sprinted twice to close the ball down. So he was determined, but his hold-up play was good, making runs in behind, and he bullied the Sheffield United defence. And Shea can be whatever Shea wants to be. I really believe that. I think he's got everything to be a top-class player. And he's still quite young. He's still learning. But no, a great finish from him. Could have had a second goal. Should he potentially have squared it to Stuart Armstrong? Maybe, but I like to see that from strikers myself, being selfish. It shows they're confident, they're taking on, they want to score goals. And Shea was really, really good today, and his work rate was the most impressive thing for me. So, and like Paul said, thankfully he looked all right from that tackle at the end, because that was a tough old tackle, but no, he rode that well. But a great finish, an amazing finish. The keeper got nowhere near it, so brilliant for Shea, and I'm made up for him.
Yeah, it really was an amazing finish. And amongst the Tella love on social media, there are comments coming in, as you'd expect, for that goal from Shea. Ryan says Shea Adams' goal should be contender for goal of the season. Jackie was also super impressed with that Shea Adams performance. She says, I love Shea Adams. I'm so delighted for him. He's a powerhouse and holds the ball up so well. Hopefully this will give him the confidence he needs to pop in a few more. He likes a goal against Man City as well. That he does. And Carly has said, fab goal from Shea. Toby was also impressed with Minamino and Armstrong. He says they were great taking the ball on the turn and looking forward. Well, on Stuart Armstrong then, Paul. Dave Merrington from BBC Radio Solent named him as his man of the match. What did you make of his performance?
Really, that's interesting. I think I'd have given it to Shea Adams, but the difference there is it's a proper football man in Dave, who's at the ground watching the whole pitch and seeing a lot of stuff off the ball that perhaps I wouldn't notice. But I think that tells me something I've suspected for a long time, that Stuart Armstrong is a player that I take for granted a little bit. He is so consistent and so consistently good. I couldn't tell you the last time he had a bad game in my eyes. Today he switched back to the wide positions from playing in the centre last time out, with Diallo coming back in. But right from the off again, he was buzzing around all over the place, and he carries the ball so well, and he He sort of helps that transition from defence into attack so brilliantly well. It was his clever little chest into the path for Shea Adams to produce that wonderful finish. And he doesn't seem to drop his game at any stage in the 90 minutes, Stuart Armstrong. He has been an absolutely wonderful signing, a great bit of business, a bargain too, because it certainly wasn't big money bringing him down from Celtic. And keeping him fit, I know he's missed a couple of games here and there, but it's so important. He is such an important part of the team. He had a slightly slow start to his Saints career. He is flying now, wonderful player. And every time I see him in the lineup, I think Saints have got a chance here because he brings so much to the team.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you were finished there, Paul. So this win, the win moves Saints on to 33 points with 11 games to go. Dean, looking at the table now, what do you make of the league situation?
Well, we've been here before, haven't we, Steve? After a win, and we consider, right, what can we achieve now? What can we do? I think it's back to just taking it one game at a time. It looks more comfortable, which is great. It's 10 points clear of the relegation zone, which really, it's easy to say now after a win. Did we ever consider they were in a relegation battle? Probably not. I think that was more dependent on the form. But it's a great win today. It really, really is. It sets it up for a difficult game at Manchester City. And then we spoke before the game about the fixtures coming up, the next 5, and I think that's really, really important, and that will that will judge how well Southampton do this season, with the FA Cup game, which is really important, and some very, very winnable games for the club, which could put them in a really, really strong position. But the table looks a lot healthier. But I think it's more the fact that the dressing room will be happy now. The manager will be a little bit more relaxed. Everything suddenly looks a lot better. You've got a win under your belt. Players are coming back from injury. A couple of players have found form. A younger player's come on and performed exceptionally well. So it looks good. So let's not get too carried away. But it's a brilliant win today.
Yeah, it is a brilliant win, and everybody's saying exactly the same thing on social media, Dean. Just absolutely chuffed to bits with that result. Simon was also pleased to see the return of Carl Walker-Peters. He says he's made such a big difference. He always does, doesn't he, Simon? Paul on Facebook says, well done, lads. I'm going to watch Match of the Day again after 3 months. Anthony on Facebook says, great, clean sheet, 3 points away from home, great team effort. Sam, hello to you. He says James Ward-Prowse was outstanding. JB on YouTube has said, absolutely delighted with Saints today. Tella was world class. Tella has world class potential. He is definitely an exciting prospect, isn't he? Billy on Facebook says, well done Saints, a great win. Michael says Saints were brilliant. What a change in the team. Yeah, amazing how those 3 players really have lifted their spirits. Born to Game on YouTube said, I think us winning without Ings will be a great confidence boost for the team, showing the players we can win without him. And Ray White has said, Man City must be quaking in their boots. Perhaps Ray getting a little bit overexcited there. But Belwiz, it will be a tough test on Wednesday. What are your early thoughts ahead of that one?
Oh, come on, let's not bring the tone of the chat down after I have win today. I reckon there are about 20,000 reasons I'm not a football manager, but one of them would be I'd be tempted to wrap a few very important players in cotton wool and rest them for Wednesday and just take whatever comes. Try and get back to winning ways against Brighton before the FA Cup quarter-final. There's no way Ralph is going to do that. He's going to be convinced, as are all his players, that they can go to the Etihad and get a win. And they've pulled remarkable results out of the bag before, when they've had injury problems and seemingly no form at all. So Manchester City's run has got to end at some stage. They do have this most incredible, ridiculous squad of players. So rotation's not an issue for them after they've had the Manchester derby tomorrow and then this game only 3 days later. So there's no great benefit to Saints there. But they've given City some really good tests, home and away, in recent years. Even after the horrific Leicester game last season, facing City twice in just a few days after that, there was no embarrassment there at all. They covered themselves in glory a little bit there. So, they certainly won't be going to the Etihad and showing fear. They'll be going there believing they can get 3 points again. And who knows? Who's to say it won't happen? It will take something special, but they deserve a bit of luck and a bit of something going their way, don't they? So if they put in the effort, if they're as positive as they were today, and there's no reason to suspect that either of those things won't happen, then I think it will be a cracking game again.
Yeah, well, Dean, you said that the dressing room is going to be much more positive and confident after today, but it doesn't get much harder than going to Man City based on their current run of form.
No, it doesn't. Man City are on a fantastic run, playing so well. It's going to be a tough test. It really is. But you'd rather go to Man City after a really good performance and a win. So, look, who knows? Like Paul said, Southampton have got the ability to upset teams. Their record against Man City in terms of performances is pretty good. They've beaten them last season, I think 1-0 at home. So it's going to be really, really difficult. But I think they'll put up a good test for Man City, because Ralph is a manager that believes in what he's doing. He believes in his players. He'll believe that he can win the game, and he'll come up with a system, a selection that he believes he can cause Man City problems, and he'll be able to score goals against them. Look, every player's going to have to be at their best, and Man City are going to have maybe an off day. But that can happen in football. It can happen many occasions during a game, and we've seen from this season that it's very, very unique. So, look, take the positives, go to Man City, put a really good performance in, and then the result will take care of itself. So we'll see. But as a player, you want to test yourself against the best. So you look forward to them sort of games.
Well, Dean, football aside, a little birdie tells us that tomorrow is quite a special day. Any birthday plans?
I don't know if it's a special day, but it's my birthday. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're going out. We're doing this. We're seeing loads of people. No, nothing, unfortunately. Just spending time with the family, Kenzie, which we've done for the last however long. But no, I'm good. I don't really celebrate my birthday, so I'm all right. Sorry.
How does it feel to be turning 50?
Do you know what? After lockdown, I feel 54. We're not right.
You don't look a day over 21, Dean. We hope you have a fantastic birthday with your family, whatever you end up doing.
Yeah, have a great birthday, Dean. Thank you very much, Dean and Paul, for joining us this afternoon, sorry. Right, well, a much-needed 3 points for the Saints. And up next, we take a trip from the bottom of the table to the home of the league leaders in Manchester City. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday evening, so we'll be with you from 4:45. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you then.